just to win. We want to be great.
We're going to fight, and we're going to ride with this thing till the wheels fall off.
The first step is to believe. The Heat playing some terrific inspired basketball here to open up game 3. That's 3 fouls on Davis. Jimmy Butler bringing the Heat just a marvelous performance. This is the largest lead they've had so far in these finals. James drives, finishes, and is fouled. Off the glass, and the Lakers retake the lead. Butler says, give me the ball. The drive, the runner, he banks it in. Oh, what a masterpiece from Jimmy Butler.
That's everyone else booked.
You got to be on the court. This is not a good look. A 40-point triple-double.
How else do you say it other than Jimmy F. and Butler?
The Heat are back in it, and our next guest knows what it takes to win titles in Miami. Chris Bosh, kind enough to join us. Chris, so good to see you. I'll start it off with what I asked the guys earlier in the show. Who's to blame for the Lakers' loss? Is it Jimmy Buckets or themselves? Max said it was Jimmy. He took it to them. Stephen A. said if AD had a pulse, they'd be up 3-0. Where are you on this?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna give everything to Jimmy and the Heat on this one. I mean, if it wasn't such a historic game for him, I mean, 40-point triple-double, I mean, that's an incredible feat, especially with your back against the wall. But one thing I know about the Heat, and one thing a lot of people have to realize, when things seem very bad, that is when I think you see the coaching staff, the players, the whole organization at their best. You know, I always say no one gets all the way to the finals just to lose. So when you're in that situation, you need to win. Your best player has to play very well. And, you know, you have to give it to Jimmy. Everybody did what they needed to do. They can still rebound better, but they didn't get killed on the boards like in the past 2 games. And they play with more of a spirit.
Talk to me about your thoughts about this Miami Heat team, considering how different they were from when you were there. I mean, obviously you, LeBron, D-Wade, the big 3, all the, you know, the pomp and circumstance that came along with y'all, you know, colliding, you know, or collaborating with one another. This is a different kind of team. When we look at the star-studded squad, it's the Lakers. It's not the Miami Heat.
Right.
But the Miami Heat are here in the finals anyway. Talk to me about your thoughts about this franchise, just overall, from Pat Riley on down, and what this team is made of in your estimation.
Well, I think, you know, before everybody kind of knew where it was coming from. We had the big 3 and everything kind of trickled out from there. I think now it's evolved into more of that team philosophy, positionless basketball. And, you know, Spo has always wanted that in his offense. It's just when you have LeBron and Dwayne as your number 1 and number 2 options, you don't have to do as much. But as a coach, you can see his growth as far as offensive spacing, the things that they do to get certain people going. Bam Adebayo, I mean, he's a phenomenal talent. He's played well. Jimmy Butler has, you know, been who he is all season. And they've been able to develop guys like Duncan Robinson, draft well with Tyler Hero, and just really bringing guys along to further establish that Heat culture that everybody's hearing about.
Chris, when I look at NBA champions, they always have at least one MVP caliber player on them, almost always, usually 2. You know, when you guys lost to Miami, Dirk Nowitzki was an MVP caliber player surrounded by shooters. When the Lakers lost in 2004, that was maybe the greatest defensive team in any sport ever that they lost to. There has to be something really special about a team. The Spurs beat you in the last season you guys were together. That was like the beautiful game. They perfected it, right? Always always passing up the good pass for the good shot for the great shot, all that. For the Heat to compete in this series, they're going to have to do something differently well, right? What is that thing? Because all I can come up with is heart. They're going to have to be the greatest heart team of all time to beat these Lakers. What can they do?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you know, although Jimmy had a wonderful game, you're going to have that other person to step up. I don't know if he'll be able to sustain 40-point triple-doubles for the rest of the series for them to be successful. He can come close, but, you know, you need that second person and that third person to step up. Tyler Hero has always been, you know, one of those guys that he's proven he can have a good game. We don't really know the status of Goran and Bam. who knows what's going to happen with them for Game 4. It's just kind of those things where you're in the art of survival right now. You just got to figure it out day to day. We'll see what happens with the injuries with those guys, but definitely expect the Lakers to dissect the film, see what they did wrong, have a very strong game plan coming out in Game 4. And, the Heat are going to have to be a little bit, ahead of that and really anticipate the Lakers' best coming up Game 4.
No question. Game 4 Tuesday on ABC 9 Eastern. Chris, let me ask you this. Your former teammate, your friend LeBron James, taking some heat today because he walked off the court early. He said he was frustrated, but people think it's not a good look. What's your reaction?
I mean, they're in the same place. It's Game 3. I've been really mad and walked off the court before too. And I know, it's the finals. Everything will kind of get blown out of proportion, but the game was over. And if your best player is mad that he walked off the court, I remember, it's not the first time he's done it. It won't be the last. I've done it before. It's emotion.
Where are you on LeBron in terms of if and when? I'd say when. I know you root for Miami, but that's your man and all of that other stuff. But I can't see Miami winning this series. When LeBron captures his 4th championship, where are you as it pertains to him and his stature in this game historically?
I mean, one of the greatest of all time. I think you've kind of said it perfectly a couple days ago. The Mount Rushmore of the league. And for me, I don't really get caught up in ranking of all time and stuff. It's too much of a complicated issue to talk about for me, in my opinion. But I think if you look at everything that he's done in the game, he still has a lot of ball left in him. This would be a tremendous opportunity for him. It has been since he's joined the Lakers. And, he doesn't really show any signs of slowing down. So, I mean, he's still adding a lot to what he already has. So, I mean, for me, one of the greatest of all time. I mean, we practically grew up in this game together, and the fact that I'm, pretty much retired and done, and he's still going. I mean, it's been tremendous to watch, but not only that, him on top of building schools, on top of being an athlete, the impact that he's had with the youth, and really just on the culture of basketball, is second to none. I think he's one of the greatest.
Along those lines, LeBron is a testament to his greatness. For the first time in his career, and he's lived in the finals, got outscored, rebounded, and assisted by a player. And it was the player on the other team who was the best player on the floor who won the game, and LeBron walks off without saying anything at the end of the game. We saw it. How do you expect LeBron to respond in Game 4?
You're going to get his best. I definitely remember a few times where, he was, mad, walked off the court. Please believe you're going to get his best coming up next game. It's not that he even played bad. He just, had some very costly turnovers. He's a student of the game. He knows that he could play much better. I think, obviously Anthony Davis, he knows what he has to do next game to, be more of a factor. But, this is the finals, the playoffs. It's extremely hard to win an NBA championship. You're going to have to beat a team like the Heat, and they're going to have to come out and give a lot better effort and more energy, which they will do. So you're definitely going to get their best. They're going to have a solid game plan. They're going to come out ready and very focused for Game 4.
All right, looking forward to it. Series is getting interesting.
To be, a hoop genius to see that.
Well, let's start off with the sweep. I too agree with Chuck. Wow, I can't believe it.
Well, welcome to NBA Game Time Finals presented by YouTube TV. And you heard Charles Barkley, Grant Hill, Chris Webber, and Smitty all say we're going to get a sweep. Well, this game went as predicted in the sense that it's the third game in these finals that we had decided by 10 points or more. But this time around, it's Miami Heat showing signs of life. Jimmy Butler, 40 points. 11 assists, 13 rebounds, did everything he could to get the win, and it's now Miami getting that victory. But Chuck, the very last words you had in the pregame show was, "I guarantee a sweep." Look what happened.
Well, first of all, I don't know if I guaranteed a sweep. Stop it, Mr. Miles. Listen, I want to take my hat off to Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. Listen, Tyler Hero, all those guys, these guys were awesome tonight. That was a perfect Miami Heat basketball game. They are terrifically coached. They are very well disciplined. But this, to me, was two things. Number one, Jimmy Butler willing his team to win this game. But, Chris, we had this conversation earlier today talking about when the Lakers win, whether it's 4 or 5 games, it doesn't matter. You saw tonight, when Anthony Davis doesn't dominate, they're not going to win. He was in foul trouble, and, don't even worry about what his numbers were. You know, we were having that debate earlier. Anthony Davis, hey, listen, I got nothing but respect and admiration for LeBron James. But if Anthony Davis doesn't dominate, because this Lakers team, they're not a great team. They got 2 great players and a bunch of Jags, just guys. Hey, just another guy. That's what I call them. They're just Jags, just a guy.
Well,
but they got 2 guys. But they got 2 guys who are amazing. But if those 2 guys don't play great, the Lakers aren't going to win. And tonight, Jimmy Butler was the best player on the court, and that's why the Miami Heat won.
Well, clearly Jimmy Butler, not just another guy, because he put up a performance with some legends. Jerry West, James Worthy, Charles Barkley. There you go, Chuck. Steph Curry and LeBron James has done it 5 times, 30-point triple-doubles in the finals. But those 40, 11, and 13, those numbers have never been met or exceeded by any of the guys on this list in one single finals game. So when you see those numbers, you see those stats, Grant, how impressive was Jimmy Gets Buckets Butler? Because tonight we can certainly call him that.
Well, first of all, Chris, I want to apologize to America and all the fans out there watching. Just like Chuck messed me up in the 2nd annual Black Masters with his golf game for 3 months, I think predicting after him messed me up as well. So I want to apologize. Jimmy Butler was fantastic. And, Coach Spo said that after game 2, they needed a Herculean effort from Jimmy Butler, and he provided that. And like Chuck said, he willed them. I mean, he came out, he got people involved, he played with confidence, he took care of the battles back and willing them here and keeping them alive. And now more time to recover. Maybe they can get some more artillery back. Maybe Bam Adebayo gets back. But now Miami feels like, okay, we have a chance. And I was blown away. I kept waiting for the Lakers to make a run. I kept waiting for the Lakers. Okay, I thought in the 4th quarter when they tied things up, okay, here they go. They're going to close it out. But Jimmy Butler and his team were playing so high and so much confidence and able to secure that win. Just a great win for that franchise.
Yeah, certainly when Rondo made that layup and the Lakers went up 93-91 after being down 14 in the 3rd quarter, Grant, it certainly seemed as if what you felt like was happening was going to happen, but Jimmy Butler continued to take over. C-Webb, I got to look at Anthony Davis's 1st quarter and come to you on that. It's something, as what Chuck said, that he has to be dominant, but he had 4 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, no shots, no points, and just 1 assist in those first 8 minutes in the 1st quarter. How detrimental was that for the Lakers once they got down in that hole and AD was struggling so much?
Well, Chuck said it all. I mean, it's just the fact that the way this team goes, I know everybody wants other narratives, and we're watching one of the greatest players in the history of the game, and LeBron, play in the finals. But they cannot win without AD being their best player on the court. It just can't happen. He's the one mismatch that this team has at every time and every turn. So it's upon him to be aggressive. It's upon the coaches to call and get him plays in his sweet spot and kind of isolate him to make sure he has no choice but to be aggressive. And then it's up to his guards to make sure they're cutting so that they can get in the passing lanes if he gets double teamed. But the way he goes is the way this team goes. And, I really don't feel bad about predicting the fact that Miami should have lost. Miami should have lost. They're nowhere near as good as this Laker team, period. That's just the truth of it. But that's the great thing about sports, right? Is the fact that we all, have proved people wrong our whole lives. And that's what Jimmy Butler did tonight. That's that's the great thing about sports. When you're supposed to lose, sometimes you can pull yourself out against the odds, and you have to love the Miami Heat heart, and you have to love what Jimmy Butler does. He's the battery in their back. I saw like a fake snarl by one of the guards at the end of the – I just start laughing like, oh, that's Jimmy Butler making them believe. And so I love the fact that they believe because of him, and so it's definitely fun to watch.
Well, we certainly have to pay attention to the fact that it's the Miami Heat in the sense of, Chuck, I know you're a college football guy, and it was as if the Miami Heat were passing over the Miami Hurricanes turnover chain. In that first quarter, the Lakers had 10 turnovers. That's the most in NBA Finals history in a single quarter. What did you see early from LeBron with 4 turnovers, AD with 4 turnovers, and the Lakers struggling to take care of the ball?
Well, listen, because every NBA team got this. I call them Jags, just a guy. Every NBA team got a bunch of Jags. But the key is, do you have enough supers? And if LeBron and AD, if they don't play great, I said this on TNT, LeBron and AD, if they play great, those other guys, they're front runners. No disrespect, they're front runners. They play well when AD and LeBron play well. AD and LeBron, they probably going to – see, that's the thing. I had this argument with Shaq on the show, Chris, about a week ago. LeBron finished with like a triple-double. We didn't have a good game. They lost the game. And Shaq was like, we had great numbers. I said, yeah, he didn't put an imprint on the game. You could not have watched that game tonight and say LeBron or AD had an imprint on the game. And you said something interesting. The Miami Heat were up the whole game. The whole game. They got off to a bad start. You talk about the turnovers by AD and LeBron. But listen, I always tell people, the other NBA team, they got some guys. They don't have AD, LeBron, or KD or somebody like that. But those other guys got players. So tonight, Jimmy Butler, the game was close. He only had to make 3 or 4 shots, and that was the game. So, but I'm really happy for the Heat because I hate to see, one of my proud things about my career, I never got swept. Because if you get swept, that's as humiliating and embarrassing. That is as low as it can go. Just for the record, Shaq got swept like 8 times, but that's neither here nor there. But listen, it was a really great win for the Miami Heat. But listen, let's don't get it twisted. The Lakers are still in control of the series. And let me tell you something. I don't know if Bam or Dragic gonna be back. I know that foot thing is a real serious deal. But man, I just don't see how the Lakers can lose this series. We thought they were gonna sweep it. But it's probably going to be a gentleman's sweep where they beat them 4-5. But hey, let's give Miami credit, man. I was really proud of those guys tonight because they battled.
Grant, I'm going to give you an opportunity to disagree with Chuck in this sense. Bam Adebayo, obviously not just another guy. If he's able to come back an all-star for the Miami Heat in this series, can he make enough of an impact for Miami now to come back and win this whole thing? We saw Jimmy Butler mouth at the very end of it that they're in trouble, which I don't know if I'm buying that yet. But, Grant, do you think Miami now has more of a chance after winning Game 3?
Well, look, Adebayo is going to help them. He's going to make them better. I think tonight's game was just as much about what Butler and Miami did as it was what L.A. didn't do. And L.A. just came out with a lack of sense of urgency. In Game 1, they were ready. They were ready and came out with a sense of purpose, played hard, energy. They were too casual, too relaxed tonight. That was disappointing. Look, if the Lakers bring it and play their A game, then I don't think that the Heat can beat them. Adebayo, if he's healthy, can make them better. I do worry about Dragic. When you have, a plantar fasciitis tear, that takes time to heal. And that's a lower extremity where, at least with Adebayo, it's his shoulder, his neck. It doesn't affect his lower extremities. But, I think the Lakers have been good in the postseason when they play poorly and bounce back. And so I imagine they'll watch film, they'll understand that they had a chance to knock them out, and they didn't really come out with that focus. They were just too relaxed, too casual, too cool. And when they play that way, they can be beat. But when they play hard and they play with a sense of purpose, you know, they're unbeatable. So I think they'll respond, they'll bounce back, and take care of business. But it won't be easy because this Heat team has a tremendous amount of heart, and now they have some confidence to complement that.
Certainly, they've gained some respect tonight. C-Webb, looking forward to Game 4 between the Heat and the Lakers. What did you take from Miami tonight? Something they can build upon in Game 4.
Well, Chris, if you don't mind, I want to ask Chuck and Grant this one little thing that happened, this little nuance. But I think the fact that they didn't have Adebayo